Good day, Brittle Planet listeners. This is Eric Peterson in Salt Lake City, and today I have a holiday treat for you. Today we are joined by the Helsinki vampire, Jyrki. How are you doing today, Jyrki?
I'm good. I'm good, and it's been a quite some time since we talked last time, but I think we got what we wanted. Like all of us '80s kids, we
Yes.
were waiting this kind of thing to happen. We started to dress up in black, and we loved the movies like Mad Max, and we were waiting all these kind of times to show up. We were waiting for the apocalypse, and we did all the ritual and cast all the spells possible, and now we finally got it. But also, being there, done that, it's time to move on.
So what do you want next?
I think it's time for like very simply. Let's keep it extremely simple. So, and I think that's something I've been saying this probably like endlessly, but someday it will really happen. So I think it's time for simple rock and roll. There are some even new bands who are playing like that, and us who have been doing this a little bit longer. We just stick to our guns and do the thing that we've been doing ever since we began. And unfortunately, some of the like fellow rockers are no longer with us, but that's just what you got to do when you're doing this kind of stuff. You just
Yeah,
keep on doing, yeah, and you
exactly.
keep on believing, and I assume and expect the same thing from the fans and music lovers alike.
Exactly.
Just keep on believing, and believe in rock and roll.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that's a way to the truth that will take you out of the darkness, that
yep.
will lead you to the light.
So where are you joining us from today?
I'm home in Helsinki in
Oh, good.
Finland.
Okay. How are things over there?
Well, you have to understand that I have spent, like, let's say, some 3 decades uh, traveling around the world, uh, just being a rocker, but also as a very curious human being. And I've been enjoying the life in all possible ways, and I've been uh, you know uh, celebrating my life on this planet. And one of the things was just to travel around the world, like as much as possible. Now, last 2 years, most of us have been staying at home more than ever. Also, I did. And during my spare time, not traveling or all around the world, I have been actually this year releasing two albums, two rock records. First one came in the spring. It was my rockabilly hobby band, the 69 Cats.
Yes, of
That album
course.
came out like in the springtime, called 7 Year Itch. And now I have the second album from me, yours truly singing, which comes out like right now before Christmas. So that's what I've been doing. I mean, basically, the 69 Cats record was recorded just before the the world closed down,
Yeah.
and then this album uh, that I'm talking about now, right now, my second solo album, uh, called American Vampire. This was done like during these last couple of years, and everything was naturally planned. Otherwise,
Yeah.
like when we planned to record the 69 Cats album, we were planning to tour around with that outfit as well and play shows, play some rockabilly with my voice for people. Okay, what happened is like we know that already, unnecessary to repeat. And then the same thing with my second solo album. Of course, when there was an idea that I should do another, and I like to do another solo album, I like to tour for it as well. But uh, for these two albums that I released this year, no tours. You know, in the even in the horizon yet for
Yeah.
these. Maybe some fine day. I
Yeah.
like to play this stuff as well. I like to play rockabilly. I like to play this my solo material as well. But on the other hand, the 69 Eyes is doing, you know, is the 69 Eyes is still alive and well, like um, Johnny Winter said, quoting Johnny Winter here. So I think that 69 Eyes, whenever possible, the 69 Eyes will actually uh, start to tour around again. So let's see when I have
Nice.
time to
Nice.
return to these projects
So
of mine.
let's talk a little bit about your new album, The American Vampire. It seems you
Have you
moved.
heard it? Have you heard it?
I've heard it. I reviewed it. I loved it.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Um,
What do you think? What's your words? I haven't seen your
well, so
review.
for me, I am a huge fan of yours and your voice, and for me,
Thank you.
the album was. I actually kind of divided it into two sub albums because for me,
Mhm.
once you got past "Don't You Want Me," I
Yes,
kind of
sir.
felt like it went a different direction than the first half. And
Oh, cool.
they were equally as good, but they were completely, in my opinion, different from the other half. So the
Yeah.
first,
The beginning of the album is more like hard rock,
yeah,
glam rock, goth rock, and
yeah,
the second half is more like electronic, new wave stuff,
exactly, yeah, exactly. But for me,
or
I
even industrial.
yeah, and I was able to, as somebody that was reviewing it, I was able to discern that and say, okay, these are each individual pieces, but to me, those pieces kind of fit together. The from the last few songs to the first few songs as almost a double album to me, which was cool.
Oh, thank you.
You
Great,
know,
great. Thank you for and I think it's very unusual these days that anyone would said like, well, you didn't mention A side and B side, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
mentioned them. You
yeah. I
nearly
mean,
said that, but that's how it's thought, and that's how actually uh, from Cleopatra Records, my A&R guy was actually probably thinking, as you pointed out. But that's the two sides, and if somebody likes my voice, I'm using it, and it's very available there, and there's hard stuff, crazy industrial hard stuff like my cover of Gigi Allen's "Bite It, You Scum" with
yeah,
Leather Strip,
yeah,
or then there's a kind of like a mysterious, my voice in a mysterious concept of like a new wave, like Decision by the KWB,
yeah.
and like, and then there's a very different size, but I think it's just it sounds like it's not it sounds like made by the same guy anyway. So
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely does.
but it's not the same music all over. It's very different. But and since the lyrics are all mine except a couple of cover tracks there is. But I hope that and the main fine line was actually the title. I came up with the title. American Vampire early on, long before even planning the solo album. I just liked the title because it was so it's so it's so brutal. It's very simple. I haven't seen that anyone has used that.
No,
So I
no.
just thought that would be hilarious because first album of mine was called Helsinki Vampire, and
Yes,
Helsinki is the
yeah,
capital city of Finland and where I live. So I like to point that out that like we're from Helsinki, even though we're appear all over the world. Um, so I thought it would be hilarious if the second record was called American Vampire. But on the other hand, I think that would be a cool title for a movie
oh yeah,
or
definitely.
like or book or something. And I was thinking of the character American Vampire as a character of like something between you know uh, Tony Montana from Scarface or to just to well as we are speaking, the sad news of Anne Rice passing has just
Yes,
come
yes,
quite recently. So less that or something. American Vampires. Oh, it's a lonely rock and roll guy on the top of the Hollywood Hills,
yeah.
which I can really easily identify myself as well. And since I've been spending a lot of time in the States during the last decade, but more than ever the last 5 years. So I thought it would just be uh, interesting to refer that, and also majority of the guest uh, bands or musicians or producers and artists on this record are from the States,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
Well,
Couple of exceptions, but still.
when I first was listening to it, I mean the I always have said I love it when artists use other artists because it turns me on to new things. Fortunately for me, I knew Shotgun Messiah for a long time. Um,
Oh, that is insane. I think I hope people will, those, because those with the know, they, I hopefully they will, will be wake up enough to understand that that's kind of like a return of the Shotgun Messiah on this album, because it's
yeah,
really like Tim Skold and Harry Cody playing together first time since 2 decades, 3 decades, something
yeah,
like that. And that's their classic track, and I always loved that. And when there was a possibility of working with Tim Skirl, I asked humbly, is it possible to cover Shotgun Messiah? And he was like, yeah, why not? And once he had Harry Cody playing that insane guitar solo
yeah,
on that song, that was really, really cool. So I hope that, like I said, those with the know will be awake and realize that, holy shit, Shotgun Messiah is back, at least on that track. And they're well, what I can say that they are active.
yeah.
That's for sure.
And I think what we need to say too is if you're listening to this interview and you don't know who Messiah is, you need to get your ass out there and listen to them because they're a great band.
Yeah, that's a, and especially what I've ran into quite recently, the guitarist Harry Cody is
Hmm.
extremely. He has a lot of fans around the world among the young guitarists who have discovered how cool guitar solos he always played. And this
Nice.
is the latest solo that he's playing on my album. And I hope the guys who play and love hard rock and play guitar, love shredding, will pay attention for that one. This is the latest solo from Harry Cody, so it's a very special one, and I'm excited, like having him on this album as well. And
Yeah.
I'm more than excited to have like Shotgun Messiah on my fucking solo album. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's a great. I mean, I
I mean,
think
somebody has to wake me up at some point.
yeah,
This is too good to be a this is too good dream at the moment.
yeah. And then you look at like I mean, hopefully everybody knows who Steve Stevens is, but I mean have Steve
Oh, that
Stevens
that
is
that's
amazing.
that's just insane. That's insane. I first of all, I'm huge fan of Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah.
That doesn't show anywhere. But honestly, I've collected always all the stuff. I have the books. I've gone to San Francisco to take selfies like in front of their house. Like
Uh
I'm
huh.
a diehard Jefferson Airplane fan. I love their music and I love everything what they have done. And of course, Grace Lick, probably the most beautiful woman ever alive. And a lot of things and of course the guitarist Jorma Kaukonen, who came up, like, now you heard how to pronounce his name, because he's actually related to Finland.
Nice.
So that's how his name is originally should be pronounced, Jorma Kaukonen. And so that is one of my favorite bands. It was great idea from Brian Pereira from Cleopatra Records to do a cover song of White Rabbit. Kind of obvious song, but not so many covers of it, actually, to be honest. And then to have like the ultimate guitarist hero of mine, Steve Stevens, on the track. So that's actually my musical climax. I mean,
Nice, nice.
once I heard the mix, I I've done. There's nothing else to expect, like in my rock and roll fantasy dreams anymore. This was too much, and I love the track, and I hope people will find it. And coincidentally, I'm also extremely excited that that was very weird that Matrix, the new Matrix movie, is just coming out, and they
Uh-huh.
have like White Rabbit,
Yeah,
not my version, unfortunately, but
yeah.
nevertheless, that song as a theme song, I'm bringing that song to the back to the spotlight. So that's cool too. Somehow I feel like sort of like sensing that being there uh, as well in the right time.
So the one that
So
I
that's what I really love. Yes, sir.
So the one that I was not sure of, and I went in kind of with some trepidation was the Tiffany one. But when I got done, I was like, "Yeah, that works. I like that."
That was like a record company, Cleopatra Records idea to have some 80s track for golf club dance floor.
Yeah.
And since there was basically the KVB, that band, they
Uh
have
huh.
a female vocalist there, which is guesting there. Also Zuzu, but there wasn't any female duets on this album. So record company came up with the idea of having Tiffany on there, who's obviously a legend.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
also like a pretty crazy and insane idea, and I'm very proud of that. That's a cool version we did, and then I hope that will get some people moving there with their Gothic outfits on the Gothic clubs in a smoky dance floor at the suitable moment whenever that happens in this world next time.
Have you did you actually get to meet Tiffany, or did you guys record across the
No. This record is done like
remotely?
in yeah, remotely,
Okay.
but it worked, and that was like also because so the concept, if somebody who's listening doesn't know, it's like every song is done with the different artist who also, and that artist also produced the track. The most when it wasn't a cover song, there's a couple of handful of covers, like we talked about already. There's it's original music. The artists, guesting artists, wrote the music, and I wrote the lyrics and arranged my vocals there, and recorded my vocals remotely, and then the artists produced the track. So I've been in touch with all these amazing people all around from the different sides of the world, and it's
Yeah.
been a lot of good times. It's been really cool, and all these artists are so great that all the songs sound like. I mean, I saw I did some interview like yesterday, and people are not sure which songs are cover tracks because the original songs are so well crafted as well. So they sound like old
Ah.
school classics from some time. I mean,
Yeah.
if you listen to like the like Debbie and Caruso with Zuzu, or Dreamtime with Rosetta Stone. I mean, people been asking like, are those like original songs, or are they from like just something from the past? But they are totally original songs.
Yeah.
But like how with my vocals and their musicianship, they start to sound like like some, well, instant classics,
Yeah.
I'd like to say.
So for me, the one band I really was unfamiliar with and was Rosetta Stone. And so again, this is why I love this is it got me into I'm going to go check these guys out to see what kind of music they have and
Oh
their
yeah,
music.
yeah, that's crazy cool, old school, first
Yeah.
generation Gothic band from Leeds,
Yeah.
England, and like if you, though, once again, those with the know, No, that Leeds is the university hometown of Sisters of Mercy and the Mission UK, and
Uh-huh.
also Rosetta Stone comes from that town. So that's a town that really actually uh, brought Gothic rock for us. So
Yeah.
those guys started at the same time. So they are a very legendary band, and they have recently activated as well. So they have actually a couple of new records during the last couple of years, which sound like old school 80s goth,
Yeah, yeah,
totally.
it does definitely. It's got almost a little bit of Depeche Mode kind of a mix in it, and it's got that
Yeah,
gothy. You kind of knew,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
And even though the 69 Eyes is all like referred also like gothic rock band, well, we're more like hard rocking, glam rocking rock band, so. But on this record, like for instance, the track with Rosetta Stone, that's pure gothic rock.
yeah,
So it's more like this kind of music is an industrial stuff is on this record. So no use. It's of course it's obvious it has to be different than it. Not I think some of the tracks could be for on the 69 Eyes album, but obviously since they're done with the legendary other bands or musicians, they are they are like masterpieces on their own.
yeah. So I've got to tell you this because I know you'll appreciate it. But when I'm listening to some of these gothy songs on the album, I close my eyes and I start to think back on almost like a scene in a movie where a vampire is seducing a woman on a dance floor of a club, and this song and a song is playing from this album, and it kind of reminded me. You'll remember the movie Fright Night, where
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, oh, you're talking about the Fright Night.
yeah, and it just
Cool.
it kind of reminds me of that scene where he's seducing her and just and in the background you're playing.
Yeah, there's some dreamy stuff exactly in that vein,
Yeah,
and that's why the album is called American Vampire.
yeah.
There's also reasons for that.
So and then based on this release, and I know we talked about a little bit about it. There's no immediate plans to tour, but would you? Is there something you'd like to take on the road?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, definitely. When the first solo album came out, I had this Los Angeles-based solo band of mine with whom I think you saw us, right?
I did. I was going to ask,
Yes. So
can we
so
get
so
them
yeah, yeah,
back?
exactly. So yes. Um, yeah, and then you actually had a Finnish band playing at the Liquid Show's Swallow the Sun
I
about like
did. I saw
less than
them.
a week ago, right?
I went
Yeah,
to that
cool.
show.
That was less than a week ago, right?
Yeah, it was on Sunday. It was on Sunday.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, obviously that's on plans. Let's see when that happens. But I mean, that is on plans, and that should happen. That will happen at some point, uh, as well as the return of the 69 Cats. I will have nothing but time for all this, and I am happy to uh, deliver and happy to rock with that stuff and this stuff to everybody. Let's see when
Yeah.
there's a right time for that. But I'm sure there will be.
I think that the cool thing to me is when I think it was at 2017 when you toured for your first album, first solo album.
Yes, sir.
And you had Ace Von Johnson from now LA
Yes,
Guns, and you had Ashes from
yes,
Devil Driver, and
yes,
and
sir.
I'm trying to remember who else you had on there. Who was drumming for you?
There was Kyle Cunningham who's been playing with Mad World and a couple of other projects, but like one of the most busiest Hollywood drummers,
And
really,
I
like
don't
who's
think
playing with everybody.
yeah, and I don't think everybody realized the cast that you had assembled for this, and I mean the people that were there probably didn't even realize how amazing musicians were drawn to you.
Oh yeah, that was really like it was really like all stars lineup or the coolest cats from the Sunset
Exactly.
Strip during that time, and we're still looking for the right time to do a return with those guys. So let this album reach the people, and the
Yes.
people will like, let's see when the time is right. And I'd like to do a short mini tour in the US, West Coast or wherever, and play a couple of these songs and from the first album and some special tracks. So I'm down, but let's see what happens.
Okay.
Everything's possible. I don't,
Yeah.
and that's how it should be done, and that's why I do music. Is like I even though that it's of course different perspective right now for a lot of things, but I'm still like to perform in front of people, of course. So especially this kind of music would be so cool to put, just kick kick the
Yeah.
set open with
Yeah.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and
Exactly.
and so on. So
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Maybe
Yeah,
even
me neither.
Tim Skirl will join me on stage. I mean, what this we've been planning like before this record came out, a lot of things, but let's see how the world will look like in a little while.
Yeah. I could see Tiffany joining you on stage too.
Oh yeah, she's welcome, of course. That would be fantastic. Thanks for the idea, by the way.
And I'm guessing she would sing a couple other songs with you too, which she could nail them too.
Yeah, now that has to happen. Thank you.
It does. It would be fun. You need to let me know when it happens so I can be there.
Cool. Yeah, yep. I
Yeah.
will let you know, of course.
Well,
Sure.
it's been
But I'm
amazing to
glad
talking to you.
you like the album, and thank you. Same to you, and thanks for all those good memories, and thanks for reviewing the album, and thanks for caring. Thanks for keeping rock and roll alive.
Of course, you
I
too.
have no doubt about it, but I just hope that the people, it brings power and good times for the people, and I hope this record reaches, people and people's hearts and brings them something for these current times. And I'm sure these songs will live on like in the future. and
Yeah.
and well, song we didn't mention is "Bite It You Scum," uh,
Yeah.
the
Great song.
Gigi Allen cover track. So that's also like I think I've noticed that Gigi Allen is living and is alive and well in the social media
Uh-huh.
at the moment, and I think that kind of character is might is kind of needed at the moment. I mean, I quickly to explain that how I discovered Gigi Allen through his music. He even did an EP with old MC5
Mm-hmm.
rockers back in the day, and I just discovered his music. And the 69 Eyes, when they started, we played like Gigi Allen cover songs in our set, and we the 69 Eyes have recorded Gigi Allen cover "Give Me Some Head" like in like 30 years
Yeah.
ago. So Gigi Allen has been a rocker in my books. The other antics, which are probably he's most known of these days, those don't play that important role for me. I'm more into his music and in his art. Of course, he wanted to be the most outrageous and the most free person on this planet, and that was probably some of his missions. But first and foremost, I'm there for rock and roll that Gigi Allen created,
Yeah.
and I respect that. And so I'm always, and there's a lot of good songs, and there's great riffs, uh, interesting stuff, and "Body to Scum" is
Yeah, that's a
some
great
of the
song.
songs that I think sometime, I hope that find its audience as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to mention before I hang up with you is I'm sorry I did not get any trivia questions for us to do today, but in the future we're going to still have to have a rock and roll Jeopardy with you, me, and Wednesday.
Oh yeah, that's it exactly.
We've got to do that.
We have to keep that alive,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
But basically, what is interesting in that part of being a rock and roll fan, those things that we kept alive in our trivia questions through the decades, majority of those people are actually still doing bloody good rock and roll. If you
Yeah.
think of the latest single of Faster Pussycat, that's
Yeah.
incredible. There's new record coming out from Snuff. Pretty Boy Floyd is touring.
Yep.
Actually, Ashes, who played bass in my solo band, is playing with Pretty Boy Floyd at the moment.
Oh, is he really?
And yes, and all these rock trivia, glam trivia, heroes of ours are doing pretty good,
Yeah.
and they are keeping rock and roll alive. So I owe them that much that I have to put out some some music once
Yeah.
a while out. This
Yeah.
this year I put out 2 albums. Next year I'm going to probably do nearly the same.
Yeah.
Just to hint that the 69 Eyes has just been in the studio, and I will be talking to you pretty soon
Nice.
about that.
I like the
But
sound of that.
before that, if somebody likes my voice and if somebody likes dark and mysterious and occasionally strange and wild hard rock and roll like it was back then there's a new record coming out just before Christmas, and it's called American Vampire,
And
from a guy and
in
a
fact,
rocker originally from Helsinki, Finland.
it's coming out in a couple hours.
Yes, it is. It is.
So,
And
do
that brings Hollywood and Helsinki closer together
exactly.
than
I like that.
ever before.
Exactly.
It's nearly like the same. It's just like seems like it's only like a 1 block away from my home to Rainbow when this album
I
comes
like
out.
that. That's a good that I would like that. That's fun. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you for your time
I hope
and
I hope that they put this record on loud at the Rainbow.
yeah. Yeah.
It's for all those people who sit there and keep rock and roll alive by their own standards there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
talking about Rainbow Bar and Grill on Sunset Strip, of
yes, I
course.
know exactly what you're talking about. So, well, thank you
Yes, sir.
again, and we will chat soon. It was good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, Eric.
Yeah.
And thank you, Brutal Planet, and all you Brutal Planet vampires out there. We got the apocalypse. Now it's time to, move on, and it's time to face American Vampire.
Nice.